Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Navs Effect Podcast. I'm your host, Naveen Kanglani. So, I brought on a friend of mine, Jason, who is one of the biggest diehard UAAP fans I've known over the years. We're going to discuss the recent developments this weekend in the UAAP games, particularly LaSalle's victory over the UP Fighting Maroons, which shakes up the Final Four picture a little bit, and also the NU Bulldogs' triumph over the Ateneo Blue Eagles, now on a 3-game losing streak, and just overall the UAP picture, how it's playing out. But before we get to all of that, first, a word from our sponsor, the Cleaning Coach.
When it comes to cleaning a home or office, most people just know the basics. Mopping the floor, wiping off dust and dirt is pretty standard. While all that can make a place look clean, it doesn't mean it is clean. Making a place truly clean and virus-free requires a professional help. That's where the Cleaning Coach comes in. The Cleaning Coach provides outstanding general cleaning, commercial cleaning, post-construction cleanup, upholstery cleaning, floor, carpet cleaning, aircon cleaning, and disinfection at a very reasonable price. The Cleaning Coach and his team will do all the scrubbing, dusting, polishing, disinfecting, and sanitizing, so you won't have to. Making your place look clean that you can also smell and feel. You will experience the difference. Now that's stress-free cleaning to a better normal, done professionally by the Cleaning Coach. Contact the Cleaning Coach today to learn more.
Okay, we're back, everybody. So, Jason, before we get started on the UAP stuff, I'm just going to share a little bit about a crazy last few days. So, it's holiday week, right? So everyone's going out of town. People are going out for Halloween night. So I spent most of the week at home, on the entire week, basically. So at first, my wife gets
Same
sick.
here, man.
My wife gets sick a few days ago, right? And so, I'm helping her out, helping take care of her. And in the process, I'm trying to do my preventive measures, to not get sick myself, because I know in my head, early this week, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get sick, I want to get sick before the games take place on the weekend, or right after the games take place on Sunday, so that at least those 2 days, those weekend days, I'm good. I can do my work, right? Because big games are taking place this weekend. So I'm doing everything right as much as I can. I'm working out every day too. So whatever enters my body, I'm sweating it out right away. I'm trying to not go out too much, to relax, but the one mistake I made, I just kept having sweets. I was having chocolates, I was having soda at home, and then
It's
I
time for
know.
dessert. There's always space for dessert. That's what I think. Yeah.
No, I agree normally too, especially if you're working out so much and you reward yourself a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But then that lessened my immunity, it lowered it, I guess. And then Friday night, I have a coffee at night, a little bit of a sweet coffee. I'm having too much caramel in my coffee lately. Yeah.
Right, right.
And then before I go to bed Friday night, I'm like, oh wait, my throat is starting to feel weird. Okay, Friday evening, my
Ala.
throat is starting to feel weird. I'm like, oh shit, no,
Ala.
no, 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 no. Then I wake up Saturday morning. I'm like, okay, feeling a little drowsy. Maybe that's just because I'm tired from like working the last few days. I think I can still manage this. So I get dressed. I have a meeting that afternoon in Robinson's Galleria. So I go to my meeting. I'm dressed. I have my backpack. So right after the meeting, I go straight to MOA for the game. And then I'm okay pa. I'm feeling okay. Then when I park at the mall, the parking lot, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a little weirder now. But kaya ko pa eh. Maybe it's just exhaustion.
Yeah.
So I meet up with a friend. Then when I finish my meal, this was a meeting, by the way, like an important meeting too. I'm about halfway done to my meal, and then I start feeling sweats in my body inside. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. And then when I get back to the car in the parking lot, I'm like, yep, that's it. It's hit me. It's here. It's spreading. It's about to get worse. So I end up not going to the game at all. I go home instead straight. And I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older. But back in the day when I'd get sick, kaya pa eh, diba? The same day, the day after, you're still strong enough. I was
Okay,
on
speaking as
bed
an
rest.
older man. Speaking as an older man, I admire you your devotion to exercising, which is always good. I mean, I try myself to sneak in a workout when I can. I've just recently gone through some therapy for my knee because toll of old age. even trying to play basketball on Wednesday nights with people of a similar age. I also think that the weather might have contributed to what happened to you because the weather's been
Up and
it's
down. Yeah.
been admittedly shitty the past couple of days. I mean, this morning lang, just to interject a bit, Naveen, I went to 11 a.m. mass here in Santuario de San Jose, and it was sunny out. I got in, and it suddenly started raining outside. I heard everybody turned around because we could hear the rain falling. Then, as the mass was ending, the sun came out again. I was like, okay, I guess it's all right. So after the mass, I went to Green Hills, had a little coffee. I look outside and the rain poured again, and
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
bring an
so
umbrella.
strange.
So like, I guess I'm just gonna wait this rain out. Then okay, so I finished that. I went home, had lunch. The rest of the day it was sunny out. So the unpredictability of weather and global warming, I think all of that might have contributed to what happened to you.
I think so
So
too.
it's like I was saying this when the pandemic first hit. We can only control what we can control, which is our bodies. If we
Mm.
can try and stay healthy for ourselves, for our loved ones, let's try to do that. I really appreciate that you were able to control yourself and just head on home rather than get to the game and possibly infect somebody else. So
Yeah.
that's very admirable. I don't think I would have been able to do that because I love watching games live, but that's an admirable trait, man. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And the worst part was just that it hit me right of the morning of Saturday, and it was such a big weekend in terms of games.
Yeah,
The contenders playing NU Ateneo, LaSalle UP. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm not making it to Moa today. And even if I make it to Moa today, I'm gonna be a zombie walking around. And I had the feeling also that I was still admirable in the sense that okay, I'm gonna try my best to get better and make it to Sunday's main event game. But instead, I was
Yeah.
on bed rest the whole Saturday. And it was one of those flus where even trying to sleep is a process because no matter where you lie down in bed, your head just feels heavy
Feel it.
no
Yeah,
matter
you
what.
can feel it.
Yeah, like
I know what
it's
you mean.
killing you, right?
Yeah.
So not only are you trying to sleep, but you're trying to find that 1 in 10 like sleeping positions where it's comfortable enough where you can fall asleep. And then you'll fall
Yeah.
asleep for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then you'll wake up again because something's hurting, right? And you can't
Right, right.
swallow anything down. And I don't know. Anyway, so
Yeah, yeah.
Saturday was a nightmare.
Attention all Animo faithful. UAAP Season 86 has arrived and it's time for the DLSU Green Archers to reclaim their spot at the pinnacle of UAAP basketball. The battlefield is set and the roar of the crowd awaits. Are you ready to keep the Animo spirit alive? There's no better way to show your unwavering support for the Green Archers than by sporting the finest LaSalle apparel, and that's where Green Blooded comes in. They are your go-to destination for all things green and white, designed with passion and precision to help you stand out in the sea of fans. Ready to gear up for success? Simply visit Green Blooded online to explore their latest collection. Whether you're a student, an alum, or simply a devoted fan, they have something special for everyone. Get ready to cheer the Green Archers back to glory. Let your passion shine through your apparel and fuel the Animo spirit with Green Blooded.
But woke up Sunday morning. We're recording this Sunday night. Woke up Sunday morning, felt better, watched the replay of the Ateneo NU game, felt sick about halfway through the day. I'm like, I'm not making it to the game to MOA. So I'm gonna watch it from home. Felt nice to some degree actually to watch like big games on the television, on broadcast rather than live because there are just so many aspects to the games that you can actually catch or notice or see or observe just by watching from the broadcast and what's going on in the game where you can see almost the full court sometimes compared to when you're live when there's so many things happening and of course you're changing positions, you're talking to people, you're saying hi, right? There are so many factors about you're trying to get coffee from Starbucks, making it back, before halftime ends, this and that. So it was a nice little change. So what I thought at first was like horrible ended up being, to some degree a little positive. So I'm taking that. But yeah, what a weekend for games. Let's start with the LaSalle UP game. Now, fourth quarter, right? LaSalle is leading this game from start to almost the finish, right? So they go up by 12 at halftime. They keep their lead in the third quarter. Take note, when both UP and LaSalle face each other for the first time in the first round, LaSalle scored only 3 points in that. For third quarter, UP comes back and takes control of the game, ends up with the win. So this time, LaSalle, they hold their lead in the third period. But in the fourth quarter arrives, CJ Cancino hits a shot, UP,
Yeah.
75-74, right? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, here we go again. What has been
Yep.
the one thing that has kept LaSalle away from the tier of UP and Ateneo the last few seasons since the UAP returned post-COVID? It's not talent, because talent-wise, LaSalle has always recruited as well as UP and Ateneo. They have the same resources. The coaching, I mean, before Topex, I guess that's up for debate to some degree. But what's always been a problem for LaSalle has been the lack of a killer instinct in these fourth quarters, right? They just didn't have that
Game boys.
poise. Yeah, they didn't have that mental fortitude, the poise to, once they get a lead on an opponent, shut them down, keep them in the ground. Enough's enough.
Yeah.
You win the game. Over and over again, we've seen this movie. We've seen this script play out. Build a lead. You're playing good for about 30 to 35 minutes. They lost the Final Four to UP the same way. And it's always against UP that this happens, right? They build a lead. They choke the lead. They lose the game. UP has to come back win. Now, it was helpful that UP did not have Malik Diouf and JD Kagulangan. Let's keep it real, okay? But I still think the way LaSalle bounced back, led by Kevin Quiambao, who outscored UP 11-5 in the final 4 minutes of the game. What he did to close that game out was what was exactly missing from LaSalle the last few seasons. That killer mentality, that close-out mentality, that mindset of, okay, we lost the lead, but we can still recover and we should still win this game. Because basketball, a 40-minute game, especially how you players play now with the three-point shots, with the quick pace, teams are going to exchange leads no matter what. It's a game of runs. The question is, after you lose a lead, can you be composed enough to, reset, right? And get the lead back and secure the win? And the answer the last few seasons for LaSalle has been no. Now, again, no Malik help because KQ was able to close UP out, in part because he kept attacking the rim, right? Scoring in the paint, scoring on a putback, getting to the foul line. And that's harder when you have someone. Exactly. And that's harder when you've got Diouf protecting the paint. But it's still a step in the right direction for LaSalle. And suddenly, with the way LaSalle is playing now, they're the hottest team in the UAAP right now. At this moment, November 5, they are probably the team with the best momentum compared to the rest of the league. Now, how long will that play out? We will find out. But definitely, after the win, no Malik, no JD, yes, but still so many positives to take away for the Green Archers heading into the stretch run before the Final Four.
Yeah, completely agree, Quiambao, when he was recruited out of NU, everybody was already talking, Tamayos, the big gun coming out of the NU Bullpups. He's the one. All these guys, Abadiano, these guys, Fortea, these guys are going to be superstars. But Quiambao going to LaSalle, that's the kind of guy that they needed. Somebody who could take command. He admits it. His idol is Nikola Jokic. That's why he's not shy about going for the pass, which almost got him into trouble in that fourth quarter earlier when he went for a fancy pass. But he scored a triple-double earlier this season, and that's not easy to do in the UAAP, because he is not selfish. You can really feel it. To command the lead of the team in only his second season, I think LaSalle goes as far as Quiambao can take them. It's not Nelly. It's Quiambao's team. It's really not Nelly. Nelly's he's good because he's a floor leader. He had a really big three-pointer earlier. That was like, so he's still got that killer instinct. And I felt bad for him because he had cramps at the end of the game. They said that he couldn't stand up. Both calves were killing him. I think it went up to his quads, right? But Quiambao is so versatile. He's got that post-up game. Kanina when the announcer said it, Francis Lopez faked a foul because Quiambao ran into him and put up a jumper because Quiambao, he's not scared, man. He's not scared of Lopez rising up and trying to block his shot. He's not scared of taking a big triple because there's something about him, and hindi siya mayabang. He knows he's got it. He's got that poise, but he's an alpha male.
Yeah,
and that's something that LaSalle has not had probably since Ben Mbala and Jaren Teng.
yeah.
The time of Teng and Mbala when they were the unquestionable leaders
Closers.
of LaSalle. Closers, exactly. And this leads to the Ateneo question because I was talking to several friends and alumni yesterday from Ateneo, and that's a clear dilemma for Ateneo. They don't have a closer because in years past, that was Ange Kwame. David Defonso, yeah, kind of. And unfortunately, that was also Fourth Padrigao. He was
Mm-hmm.
also a closer. And this year, that the first couple of games, they showed that, oh, they can mask that whole thing about, because they don't have Tab Baldwin does not relish having superstars. It's a balanced attack. But these last three games specifically, you could see that the games were still close, but you needed someone to take charge, to really take command and be the closer. Jared Brown tried it out, and Chris Kuhn tried, although in the UP game it was really bad. And that's what's one of the big things that's ailing Ateneo. But going back to LaSalle,
Calling all Ateneo fans. UAAP Season 86 is upon us, and the roar of the crowd is about to fill the air as the Blue Eagles gear up to defend their throne. Are you ready to be the sixth man and fuel their journey to victory to keep the crown in Loyola Heights? We know you bleed blue, and now it's the time to show it with pride. Get Blue is here to help you do just that. The brand new collection of Ateneo gear is hotter than ever, and it's the perfect way to display your unwavering support for Team Ateneo. Let your wardrobe do the talking this UAAP season. Wear your pride, stand with the Blue Eagles, and be part of the winning tradition. Don't miss out on the excitement. Join the Ateneo community in cheering for victory. Get ready to soar with the Blue Eagles and get blue.
man, Quiambao, KQ is man, that's a big boy. Then, he is seriously, I think he's really leading the MVP race. And it's by a mile.
Mm.
Because he's got so many things covered: scoring, rebounds, passing, the leadership, the intangibles. He's
The
got it.
defense too. Low key, the
Yeah,
defense has been great.
yeah. And I thought, baka Phillips might overwhelm him because Phillips is so athletically gifted. Mike Phillips specifically. But no, Kiambao, he just took on this team and said, "I'll carry you guys.
Yep.
I'll bring you guys as far as you can go." And I think Topex sees that. Topex trusts him. Although Topex is still more guard oriented, of course, because he too was a point guard. But man, even as a guy who's not rooting for LaSalle, I can't help but be like, wow, damn, that guy is a bad, bad boy. Yeah.
He is. There's some changes he's made. So first of all, his body looks like night and day different compared to last season. He's focused on
His
working on his
IG
body.
feed, his IG
Yeah.
feed Navi during the off season when he'd be running, I'm like, wow, okay,
Wow.
he's
Yep.
really trying to get in shape. I think he must have improved his nutrition and his diet.
1,000%. So he worked with Itona Performance to get his body in the best shape possible. Worked on areas of his physical makeup to tailor suit himself for basketball. What areas of his body needed improvement to be a better basketball player. So it was scientific based. The diet, he followed a specific caloric intake for when he was bulking up, then when he was cutting, and now in the season with the help of Tim Nutrition. And the work ethic, like Migs Aitona, LaSalle's strength and conditioning coach, told me that. And by the way, he's been with Topex for a while. He's worked with college players, he's worked with the pros, different levels of the game. And he said the work ethic of KQ is unrivaled. Just the
Wow.
dedication of this young man. This guy was working out every single day in the off season, following his caloric intake every single day in the off season, and even on game days during the season, he's either lifting weights before the game or after the game. He was lifting
Yeah.
weights this morning before the game, doing deadlifts, doing different kinds of strength workouts, and you can see that dedication, the change in lifestyle. So, because that's the thing there, right, Jason? It's
Yeah.
different when it comes to getting in shape. Whether you're an athlete or whether you're a normal human being, when you want to make a commitment to getting in better shape, you have to ask yourself, number one, okay, is this something I want or is this something I just kind of want? Because if it's something you
Yeah.
just kind of want, it's something that's like a switch. You're going to turn on and off. Okay, I'll work out these days. I'll take a few days off, this and that. But if
Yeah.
you if you change your lifestyle according to what your commitments are and what you want to dedicate yourself to, you change like different parts of your lifestyle. Maybe you drink less, maybe you go out less, you work out more, you're wiser with what you
Yeah.
put in your body. Then the change is more apparent. And you're seeing it now in KQ. in terms of his game, the loss of weight has allowed him to become a better player defensively because now he can bend lower, move his knees laterally, and actually lift higher to contest shots at the rim. And he plays the passing lane so smart. Now he had that big steal in the fourth quarter today where he got fouled by Briones and made 2 free throws. And at the same time, too, he's taking less of those floaters that he was taking a lot last season. He still has those fancy passes he'll try out once in a while when he wants to be Nikola Jokic. But compared to last season, it feels like it's significantly less. He's just become a smarter player overall as well. He's taking more 3-point shots rather than long 2-pointers. Sure, he'll take a few jump shots sometimes. He's trying to get to the rim more. And with that mix of speed and athleticism and touch near the rim, he can finish around the basket. Now, the rest of the team, I think LaSalle has kind of found a formula. It remains to be seen if this is going to work long term, where throughout the game, Evan is really controlling the ball. KQ picks his spots. Maybe Joshua David will come and control the ball a bit. Once in a while, Policarpio or Nonoy will lead the offense. But then when it comes to the time to like really put an opponent down, we saw this against NU last weekend. We saw this against UP in the fourth quarter. Quiambao takes over. And he knows, okay, the team needs a bucket. The team needs a chance to score. The offense is slowing down. Time to make something happen. They get him the ball and he creates. And by the way, Policarpio's play as of late has been a huge game changer. He had 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists against UP in just 15 minutes of playing time. He scored, I think, 2 straight times, 1-on-1 against Francis Lopez. He beat Lopez in a foot race to the rim, scored despite the contact. The athleticism is there. You know, in my last podcast episode, I had Policarpio on, and he said one of the reasons why in the start of the season he was struggling was because hindi pa siya sanay with the UAAP crowd, 12, 13,000 people watching. And that's really a game changer for so many people who are trying to make it, in the first time in the UAP. But he's become more comfortable as of late. He's playing better, and you can see it on the court. His connection with KQ, Raven and Policarpio's connection with KQ on the court is really good. Then if you add a good game from Evan and Michael, if you're not relying on Phillips to score, but you're rather relying on him to get offensive rebounds and putbacks, create defensive plays, rebound, protect the rim, create multiple possessions, that's where he's at his best. He's not going to be a post up, give him the ball, he's going to score like consecutive buckets. Once in a while, he can do it, but he's an energy guy, and he's a very, very elite energy guy. And Evan, yes, there will be games he's ineffective. There will be games he will take tough-looking contested shots. But once in a while, when LaSalle needs a bucket, he can pull up mid-range, pull up sometimes downtown, make a basket, and it's important. And you just feel comes at an important time. He'll miss those, but he'll also make those. And he can still distribute the ball when he wants to. And suddenly, with the way guys are playing, with the way the minutes are being distributed, you're seeing a change to some degree in how this Green Archers team is playing basketball. For if the first round they look
rotation.
Yeah, the rotation has been tighter as of late. Yeah. But if in the first round what we saw from LaSalle was similar to the LaSalle teams of the past few seasons, then as of late you're seeing the LaSalle team that what we envisioned they would be this season after their impressive offseason.
Yeah, clearly to echo what you said about Mike Phillips. He came in season 84, I believe, and he was this pogo stick, right? Like jump and jump and jump. He'll just keep jumping. And I think he loves being like a Dennis Rodman type, He'll go for rebounds. He'll bang bodies every so often. Yeah, he'll get you a dunk every so often if it's wide open. But don't expect him to create his own shot or post up and try and make magic happen. He's not Quiambao in that sense. And I think he loves being the big energy guy. I think that's the thing with both Mike and Ben Phillips. I don't know about their brother because he's hardly played, but both Phillips brothers are energy guys. I really appreciate that about those guys. And I'm always concerned with when Mike Phillips is in the game because you never know if he's going to get extra possessions for LaSalle offensive bounce steals. And that's been, in the ether out there, people have been wondering, when are they going to put this all together? And right now they've put it all together with Topex and the arrival of guys like Cortez and Policarpio have really helped them out. they're not even dependent on Nonoy anymore, which I think is the right thing because Nonoy, for all his speed, I think he was at his best. Unfortunately, he was at his best under Coach Aldin in UST, and he's not that anymore. He's not that speed demon who will just outrun everybody because there's a system for Topex, and this system really favors Quiambao and Nelly and Phillips. I think these three are they're the barometer for LaSalle's for any success or any failure that LaSalle might have. It's going to be these three that really carry them. Yes, there was no Kagulangan, there was no Diouf, and those are big names. But I saw a post that you posted right after the game that when completely healthy, UP is probably the favorite, and it's true. Yet they were they still almost won again, kanina.
So CJ played a
Because of
great game. I thought CJ
yeah,
was
and Briones, those guys, and Alarcon had a few timely shots also. But yeah, that's taking nothing away from LaSalle. They rose up to the challenge of UP because the past couple of seasons, UP's been giving them the business, and they were able to take something back from UP today to hand UP their second loss.
yeah. Now, before we talk about UP, because I think it's important we do so as well. And by the way, I agree that when healthy, I think UP is still the favorites. In fact, if Malik played this game, even just Malik, no JD, I think the game would have at least gone to overtime because LaSalle
Mm.
hurt UP in so many of the ways where Malik would have come in handy. Like, for example, LaSalle out rebounded UP 47-42. LaSalle had 17 offensive rebounds, which led to 18 second chance points. LaSalle won the game by 9. They had 18 second chance points to UP's 8. Points in the paint, LaSalle was 14 out of 35. And also where UP can really hurt you, fast breaks, getting out of the break. That's where Malik really helps the rebounds, the outlets, the rim running, finishing plays.
Yeah.
So they could have really used him. But one more thing on Quiambao. He's the MVP right now, the MVP leader. And at this point, I think a lot of people know the MVP, Rookie of the Year, Mythical 5 in the UAP. This is determined by statistical points, a statistical formula that
Yeah.
you can argue maybe it's outdated because there's so many ways to evaluate how good a player is now more than just statistics, right? But Quiambao is one of those players where both the statistics and the eye test support that this guy is
Yeah.
the MVP. And the reason I say that is because name something on the basketball court that Quiambao cannot do right now in the college level, right? Do you need a three-pointer? You can go to Quiambao for it. You need someone to drive to the basket, finish at the rim, or get a foul? Quiambao can do that. By the way, he was 9 of 10 from the free throw line today. For a
Yeah.
LaSalle player, that's rare, okay? But the team, of course, the rest of the team shot 9 out of 19. So that's still a thing. Do you need a defensive stop? Quiambao is doing that. Do you need a player to create for a teammate? Quiambao can do that. Do you need someone who can rebound the ball? Quiambao is doing that. He has his turnover deficiency sometimes, but you know what? When you're handling the ball so much, you will turn the ball over, especially in college basketball where the refs let a lot of physicality slide. But I just wanted to
Yeah.
point out again, also to what you said about Quiambao and how good he's been. He's the MVP not just because of numbers, but because of the eye test as well. It's
Oh yeah,
supporting the
clearly.
fact that right now he might be the best player in college basketball. And we have
Yeah.
a lot of great players in college basketball,
Yeah.
a lot. But the way he's played as of late, if there was a championship belt in terms of best player in college hoops right now, I think I would have to give it to him.
Yeah, I have to acknowledge him, like Roman Reigns. You gotta acknowledge him because he's the total package. Everything is on display now. He's like a Swiss knife. And like you said, there are no weaknesses as far as anything that you can say. In the past, you could say his defense was missing or maybe his speed. But as he's taken care of his body and all the off-season work that he's done, I think also the continued being part of the Gilas pool has exposed him to professional players, and it's shown him that now if you take care of yourself, this is where your career is headed for, whether it's the PBA or abroad. I think he's very aware that these options are available to him if he just follows the right path. And right now, he's on that right path. And I really think he's the best college player we have right now. It could have been Cancino if Cancino would play a little more defense. If it was more obvious, because Cancino is a cold-blooded killer as far as shot making. He finds ways to make shots. I think that's the only competition really. Well, Remogat, of course. Well, Remogat was a killer earlier against FEU, but Quiambao, he has my MVP vote if I had one.
Yeah, I also want to just mention Francis Escandor played well today. He had 11 points in 15 minutes, 3 out of 6 from 3-point range. Hit some timely three-pointers too. One at the end of the first quarter that gave LaSalle an 8-point lead, and then a few more in this one more in the first half, another one in the second half. And he's important because he came in this game not really shooting particularly well from downtown, but that's his role. He's a spot up shooter. And LaSalle
Yeah.
needs that floor spacing. They're one team that could really use another shooter. That's why I thought that the loss of Deron Mitchell, a one and done player who was supposed to play with them this season, was huge because Deron, his role particularly was to spread the floor and shoot. And if Escandor can do that, even in little spurts consistently, that could be really helpful for the team. Mike Phillips, by the way, in 23 and a half minutes, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, a plus
Jesus,
14,
Mike
5
Phillips.
of 11 from the field. Just he before the season, I thought Mike would win MVP because his stats would be overwhelming, but obviously KQ has the lead now. But Mike showed today that there could be games where his energy alone can just change the momentum of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Not yeah, go
He's
for it.
he's an energy guy through and through. And again, I go back to the old Rodman comparison. This is somebody that doesn't need plays called for him, and he will love it because all he wants to do is bring the energy and to win games.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody else can get their numbers. Phillips gets numbers through effort. He's
Mm-mm.
not out there to try and score because he just wants to get the ball, help his team out. If a dunk of his brings energy and hype from the crowd, that's a plus. But I don't think he's looking to dunk just for the sake of dunking. He's only looking to get the ball and to get his team wins, crucial the crucial wins.
Yeah, and also like he's probably like 10% better this season than last in the post. Like he had that good post move to start the third quarter. I forgot who was guarding him. I think it was Pablo, where he at first drop step, looked like he was gonna take a hook shot, then reverse pivoted, instead turned around, used his left hand. So there are those little moments, not so often, but at least some improvement. And in a UAP game, 2 or 4 points can make a lot of difference in the fourth quarter, right? Now UP, no Malik, like we said, no JD. Although Felicilda played really good in 30 minutes, 13 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. I thought that he really sparked that UP run in the second half, where he kept attacking the rim, attacked in transition, pushing the ball, getting UP to its game, because we know at this point UP's at its best when it's attacking and running
Yeah,
and controlling the pace of the game, playing fast, playing to their style. So I thought the JD absence wasn't as significant because Felicilda played well. The Malik absence was felt. Pablo, I thought, played admirably. Not great, but he's just not ready yet against the. Maybe in like a few seasons he will be, but I think
same with
that
Sean Alter.
yes, Sean Alter had 2 blocks. He's been not bad protecting the rim, this season as a
Mm.
backup big man. The offensive game is still developing, and you can see that. And look, Chico Briones was subbed in late in the fourth quarter and immediately just changed the game. Hit a 3-pointer, hit a pull-up two. But you saw Coach
Yeah,
Gold was a little unhappy with some of his defensive mistakes
yeah,
as well. And that's really what's stopping Chico right now from earning more playing time. Is the development on the defensive side. The one criticism I would say about UP's game plan was they did not get Jerry Abadiano the ball enough to look to
yeah.
score. Abadiano played
Because
30
Abadiano
minutes.
killed. Yeah, he killed Ateneo because Abadiano was the guy that Ateneo could not stop. He took it upon himself to hit big jumpers, big triples. He was
Yep.
very offensive minded against Ateneo, and I didn't feel his presence as much today against LaSalle.
He had 22 points and 7 to 15 shooting against Ateneo. Against LaSalle today, he played 29 and a half minutes, 9 points, 4 rebounds. Yeah, he had 4 turnovers. That's not great, but 9 points, 4 rebounds on 4 of 7 shooting. So he was still shooting the ball well. And he had a few misses there that I think one miss that went in and out. So he could have even been more efficient. But only 7 shot attempts. Now, Cancino had 20 points on 22 field goal attempts. So at first glance, when you see a player has more shot attempts than points, that's like a telling sign. That's an inefficient game,
Yeah.
right? And I did feel like CJ had quite a few possessions where he, didn't exactly force his offense, but was really making an effort to look for his shot. And that kind of took UP out of their offensive rhythm to some degree. But I also felt CJ hit a couple of really tough shots when LaSalle's lead was threatening to go up. And he was hitting it so timely that it kept UP in the game and then allowed UP to rally in the fourth quarter. Then he went cold towards the end. But I do think that given how good Abadiano has become, given that he's become a reliable jump shooter, he's turning into one of the best scorers in college basketball right now, Abadiano. You need to find a way to get him more looks, to create offense. And I thought that was one of the areas where UP, if they look back, maybe they try to do that, try to get Jerry going more. Because Jerry's one of the few guys who can create something out of nothing with his pull-up game. And I feel like we're going to see... Yeah.
I was just thinking this because the past couple of games, they have not been a complete team, right? Where they just Cancino out or Kagulangan out and Diouf out. But the UP depth has been there all along. We've said this since before the season started, that as a result of the recruitment wars, they're probably the deepest team. And it's created opportunities for other people to take over, next man up. It worked again against Ateneo with Abadiano taking more of the scoring since Cancino and Kagulangan were not there. And today with Cancino back there, I think that kind of affected also Abadiano's scoring. And to echo what you just said, yeah, I think that's one of the challenges that Coach Goldwyn has, finding possessions for Cancino while at the same time keeping Abadiano hot, because Abadiano has shown even in high school that he's a scorer. He can hit big shots for them. This is one of those dilemmas that coaches have with very deep teams. How are you going to distribute the ball for everybody to be happy, everybody to get their numbers? It's probably not going to happen ideally in every situation, but it's some kind of dilemma that a winning coach like Golden Monteverde will have to figure out.
Yeah. And again, I need to keep bringing up the Malik point because he's really the connector of this team. He protects the rim, he scores inside, he gives second chance opportunities. So looking at the statistics of the UP LaSalle game, UP actually shot 45.5% from the field for a college team. That's good numbers. Now, they were 4 of 23 from 3-point range, just 17.4%. They shot 60.5% inside the arc. So they were getting their buckets effectively too.
Yeah.
The problem is they took 66 shot attempts. LaSalle took 76 shot attempts. LaSalle took 10 more shot attempts than UP did, and they won by 9. Because the free throws were fairly even. Not fairly even. LaSalle had a few more. 29 free throw attempts for LaSalle, 23 for UP. But again, that's a byproduct of the extra possessions. And again, I stress the point of 17 offensive rebounds for LaSalle. That just leads to multiple possessions. Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors said it best, right? When you get to playoff basketball and you get to the games that matter, teams are so even that they're going to get stops and they're going to get baskets. That's just going to happen. So how many multiple possessions and extra opportunities can you create for yourself to give you more chances, for the mathematics to work, to give you more opportunities to score more or to get more stops and to win the game? And today, I feel like LaSalle did that. And one last point I want to leave, Jason, before we go on to the other stuff. If this is the finals, and I'm big if, because I still have so much respect for NU as a team, especially if NU is healthy. I think NU can make the finals, and I still have respect for the Ateneo Blue Eagles. Team coached by Tab Baldwin, that much talent, I'm still giving them a chance to make the finals. But if this is the finals, UP versus LaSalle, from what we know of this building rivalry, they have played close game after close game after close game, close game after close game. We are going to be in for an epic conclusion to the season if this is indeed the finals.
This has been the case, Naveen, since the UP Renaissance with Juan and Javi Gomez de Leaño, since they appeared in the UP campus, with the rise of UP culminating in their finals appearance in 2018 and then their championship in season 84. It's been the three-way rivalry that many of us have been dreaming of for decades, to have Ateneo, UP, and LaSalle, playing in big games and packing arenas. And it's finally happened. And these LaSalle UP games, probably the only thing missing is to have a finals matchup between them, to really have some kind of burgeoning hatred between the two schools. Because I'm
There,
gonna tell you, from a blue perspective, it's happened already. It's been with LaSalle forever, but it's also happened with UP. Even
right.
if Ateneo and UP are neighbors, it's become more intense the past couple of years, and you can feel it now that LaSalle and UP, it's been happening.
Yeah, you can feel it
Yeah,
following the same trajectory, right? Where at
yeah,
first they're the friendly schools from Katipunan, right?
yeah.
Like it's a
Friendly. Oh,
like
that's cute. That's nice. But now it's
right?
getting serious. It's like
Yeah, like
they
you
can't be winning. You can feel it that
exactly.
LaSalle's thinking that we have these 11 UAAP championships. What's this UP thing coming up? Why are they taking our spot? You can feel it. And now, I think the alumni of both schools are fully engaged in it. You saw Mo Arena was packed earlier today. Even on TV, you could hear the building shaking. So it had a playoff atmosphere, and these are the things that make the UAP so much fun to watch.
Yeah, the Ateneo UP rivalry, right? At first, so Ateneo comes in as a major favorite in the 2018 finals. And then UP's like this underdog with a really inspiring story. But then Ateneo quickly dispatches them in the finals because the level between both teams at that point just wasn't even enough, right? And then they don't meet in 2019. They meet again in 2022 in season 84. And then in that season, UP ends Ateneo's win streak and they win a championship. So suddenly it becomes okay, big brother, little brother to, oh, wait, what happened here? Right? So
Yeah,
those the guys on the other side of Katipunan actually beat us in the final. And then in the same
yeah.
year, Ateneo claims the championship. And that's where you can feel the like a lot of people want to keep saying, you know what, UP Ateneo is not a rivalry. Look, a rivalry, if you've got both sides going for each other's throat on social media, if you've got fans from both teams wanting to at certain points just like rip each other apart at games, if you've got players from both sides taunting each other and you're meeting each other over and over again in big games in the finals, you are a rivalry. Doesn't matter how many.
This is
Doesn't
also
matter,
true
yeah.
as far as alumni goes, Naveen. It's been said in the past couple of seasons specifically that a lot of Ateneo undergrads go to UP for post grad or vice versa. Some Ateneo grade school, high school end up finishing college in UP, or vice versa. So the loyalty is being questioned. It's happening. A lot of people on both sides are already saying you can only choose one. You can't choose both. You can't say yo, wala akong talo. I win anyway, whether it's Ateneo or UP. No, it's really time to take sides. You can feel that on Katipunan already, and now you can feel it crossing over into Taft, like it's been with Ateneo and LaSalle for decades. So now, this three-way thing, it's fun to watch, but at the same time, you're thinking, where's it all gonna end up? How this arms race that these schools have been having, you really feel it now, and it's 1-8, even though UST hasn't had a good record. 1-8. I don't recall the last time the UAP was this competitive, where okay, there's a clear number one, which is UP, but still they've lost twice. And
Mm-mm.
now NU's there. This attitude that Coach Jeff has put in his team, where they're not taking shit from nobody. Humamoy and Figueroa yesterday playing like big boys, and you can't say that Adamson, with even without Jerome, they're I think they're even more dangerous now, because you don't know where the scoring is gonna come from.
Yeah.
Because before it was all over reliant on Jerome, Mr. Retired number 7 for Adamson. Yeah, in UE and FEU showed out earlier today. Also, they went into overtime with Remoga just taking over. Grabe ang
Yeah.
balance now. It's
Grabe.
it's like
It's
you
so
you you want to
exciting.
say that, yeah, you want to say, yeah, I don't have to watch this, but at the same time you're like, dikit yung laban, parang gusto ko manood.
Yeah, yeah, like that UAFU game earlier. But one last thought on the LaSalle UP. Low key, This has been building up. Okay. Now, both the UP and LaSalle communities, at least from my perspective, they've been sort of friendly to each other the last few years. There's not really a lot of animosity or vitriol, right? Not like how the Ateneo UP rivalry has kind of grown into from
Oh yeah.
multiple facets, right? So 2017, the last Ben Embala year, UP beat LaSalle that season, that Ben Embala season. Thus, UP scored a win against LaSalle, and this was the year before they make the Final Four. The next year, 2018, UP makes the Final Four after so long. Who was the team they beat to make the Final Four? LaSalle,
Yeah.
right?
This was
20,
the one in Inares in Antipolo, right? Was that
MOA,
the one where
MOA. The Inares was next
okay.
year. But the next year, UP and
Okay.
LaSalle in a close game. LaSalle has the win secured, and in LaSalle fashion, they lose the lead. One Gomez Deliano hits a three-pointer after a steal to
Oh
win the
yeah.
game, right?
A hop.
20,
Yeah.
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 Season 84. LaSalle and UP face in the Final Four. LaSalle wins the first game. They have a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter of the second game. UP comes from behind, breaks their hearts, right? The
Yeah.
next season, season 85, they split the season series with a bunch of close games, 1-1. So if there is a season for these two teams to finally face each other in the finals and bring this rivalry to the next level to make it an actual possible rivalry, it has to be in the finals because that is the next step for these two teams and where they're trying to get to. And Jason, I will tell you this, and you know this as a long, long time Ateneo fan. That
Yeah.
LaSalle fan base, when they have a championship team that they're rooting for, a contender to root for, they can turn into a totally different animal too.
Oh
That
yeah.
that crowd,
Absolutely.
when that green and white crowd has a chance to root for a contender, that is a machine in of itself. A fan base that can rival Ateneo and UP.
It can be argued that in the 90s, LaSalle had the best fan base because they were winning so much. You know, they got the four-peat leading into 2001 with Casio and all of those guys, Mike Cortez and them. And you know, seeing that green and that sea of green on the other side, as well as when they're cheering and doing Recticano and everything in the middle. I have said it before. I miss seeing LaSalle in the finals because Ateneo LaSalle finals are always special. But seeing LaSalle finding themselves again as a long time UAP fan and on the opposite side, I can't help but think, "Man, it's fun seeing LaSalle being serious again and really going up again because this fan base, these alumni, they've lost their swagger and it's kind of come back.
Mm,
It just took a couple of years, the right recruits changing over from ECJ, you know, as far as major sponsor for the school, having the right guy in Topex, and I think Topex is the right guy because Topex, kind of like as Polstra, as, if you will agree, is he's all about culture. You know,
mm,
changing the culture, changing the way the players approach everything. He broke them down, you know, in order to instill his own system in them. And for me, seeing that, yeah, I'm concerned because I'm on the opposite side, right? But at the same time, I can't help but respect it because that's what's happened on our side for so long with Norman Black and Atab Baldwin, you know. And of course, not everybody's going to have that, but to have an approximation of that over in Taft, over in Diliman, it's only made the league more fun because everything's competitive. Of course, if I had my way, everything would be 16 and 0 like it was, but it's not going to be that easy all the time. And it actually makes wins sweeter. It makes losses more heartbreaking, but that's what sports is, man. That's what makes college basketball so much fun.
for sure, for sure. You know, I have a quick story to share. So after season 85 last season, that was Evan's second to last season of eligibility, Nelly. And he was deciding, am I going to stay for one more season in LaSalle or not? So I was messaging him throughout the process to trying to find out, okay, are you coming back? What's gonna happen? And he really wasn't sure, couldn't decide. And then there were whispers, okay, Topex might be the next head coach of DLSU. And Evan and Topex had a relationship at this point. And Evan said straight up, I'm not sure if I'm coming back, but if Topex is the coach, I think I might come back. And true enough, Evan Nelly returned to practice the day that Topex was announced as the head coach of the Green Archers. That relationship, that trust between those two is there. The trust that KQ has in Topex, the trust that Phillips, trust that a lot of the members of this team has in their head coach. He instills confidence in them. He might not
Yeah.
be the best in-game adjustments coach when it comes to X's and O's. That's why he has his
Yeah.
assistants.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why he has his assistants like Kaloy Garcia and company to help out. But in terms of pushing the right buttons with his players, and now people are still asking, why is Topek still playing Waki Manuel? Why did Waki Manuel have 9 minutes today? Well, that to some degree is tactical as well. Waki is one of your vets in the team, one of the graduating players. Now, I don't know if he'll still do this in the Final Four or in the finals, but you play that veteran a few minutes, a chance to gain some momentum on the court. The teammates will see that. The teammates will see that you're still giving your senior a chance to play. And it might not always be the best results on the court, but he's basically telling Manuel. Like this is, I think, the most minutes Manuel played since the last game against UP, where people weren't happy with how Manuel played in the second half. So the way I saw it was like Topex was saying, okay, Waki, I'm going to put you back. Same team, same arena, same situation. Show what you've got. And the
Yeah.
other teammates, they see that. They see the trust. And they see when Topex does that, that what he preaches to them about trusting him and trusting the system, the actions back up the words. And that's one way to earn the trust of your players. Sometimes, like in the game of chess, you have to sacrifice a pawn, right? So sometimes in basketball, you have to make a move that might not be the most popular, but long term, it could lead to different results. So now, let's go on to the Ateneo versus NU game. Ateneo has 6 losses. Ateneo has more than 4 losses for the first time ever since Tab Baldwin became head coach of the Blue Eagles. They are in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, the first ever 3-game losing streak in 10 years. 2013, that was the first year of Coach Bo coaching the Ateneo Blue Eagles. 1 decade. Wow, 3-game losing streak, first time in 1 decade. You guys have enjoyed the last 10 years, huh? You guys have, safe to say, it's been a fun 1 decade for you Ateneo Blue Eagles. I'm not even gonna say that something is not clicking with this Ateneo team because it feels like they're in every game, right? Aside
Yes.
from the UST game, they blew out the Growling Tigers, and aside from the season opener against NU, Ateneo has been in close game after close game after close game. Even this recent 3-game losing streak, LJ Gonzalez beats them at the buzzer. They come back, they make it a late game against the UP Fighting Maroons, and then against NU, they're actually leading at a certain point, right? In the first half, in the second half, NU takes control. They're rallying, they make it close, but they just come up short.
Figueroa
And
3.
the Figueroa 3 was huge. Humamoy going 8 for 10, having his breakout game in the UAAP. He changed that game in the second quarter. When I thought Ateneo had a
Yeah.
chance to pull away and take control, Humamoy came in, and Baclan didn't have a great game, by the way. It was like, I think,
Yeah.
2 of 10, 4 turnovers, if I'm not
Nash is still
mistaken.
out.
Nash is still out. Don Lim only played 14 minutes, but Humamoy came in 16 minutes, 21 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. He had a beautiful pass to Omar John in the fast
Oh yeah.
break that led to a
That fast
John.
break.
And like
I
people
won't say what I said when that happened because
it must have been
yeah.
bad. But Humamoy was an MVP in the UAP Juniors division. So this is a guy, and he was fantastic in the NBTC tournament as well, right? He led that team all the way. So he has been a great player. He has been waiting for the chance to shine. He's been injured, but he looks healthy now. He's playing great. And that was a huge, huge win for NU. Because suddenly they're tied with UP for 8-2 at the top. LaSalle is right behind them at 7-3. And then you get some separation. Adamson 5-5, Ateneo 4-6, UE 4-6, FU 3-7, UST 1-9. But what a big win for NU. I think Jake Figueroa has been their best player the whole season. These numbers, 18 points, 7 of 10 shooting, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 turnovers, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Like what, Andre Kirilenko stats or something? And then this guy was also an MVP for Adamson in the UAP Juniors division a few years ago. There's a lot of talent in this NU team, but they're playing within a system, they're playing within a team. They're playing with great defense. They're sharing the ball on offense. They have guys they can plug in. Even Don Lim will have a few good games. Enriquez, when he's back, will have a few good games. Manan Sales, He's a pogo stick, Manansala. 6 rebounds in 20 minutes. Patrick Yu can contribute some games. And Baklaan, even if he's not always shooting the ball well, he's still the head of that offense. He's getting to the rim, trying to create for others. Omar John's a solid FSA. This is a very good NU team. And Ateneo needed that win badly Saturday. But I felt like they were facing an NU team that was also coming off a really disappointing loss against LaSalle, an NU team that was also motivated to get back on the winning track. And NU just made a few more clutch plays, which for Ateneo, unfortunately for the Blue Eagles, has been the story for a large chunk of the season. In the end game, the other team just makes more plays. I think that's also where you can see and you realize that so much of this Ateneo roster are a lot of new faces put together, right? Put together, like, but like people like look at Balungay as like the leader of this team, but they also forget Balungay just started playing season 85, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
right? He
Yeah.
wasn't on the 84 roster, he was in season 85. This is technically his second season. Chris Kuna is in his third season, but only second year with the Blue Eagles. Jared Brown is new to the roster. Joseph Obasa is new to the roster. Jason Credos getting major minutes for the first time. Mason Amos is relatively new.
Yeah.
Sean Kiteves, it feels like he's this team's vet, but he only started getting minutes literally in the finals of season 85. So
Season 85.
this is
Yeah.
technically his first full season. Ian Espinosa, first full season. Gio Chu just has not panned out this season. And it feels like every game Ateneo is looking for different answers to different problems. And they're getting close enough to compete at the end game with these teams. But they just don't have that symmetry yet. That, when, like, for example, you compare it to the Blue Eagles dynasty a few years ago, those guys just knew where each other would be on the court. They've been playing with each other since high school. So if Mike Nieto or Matt Nieto drives, he knows left corner, Tyler Tios there, Gian Mamuyak is there. Doesn't even have to look. There's a trust factor na. And that's that chemistry, that solidarity is just not yet there with these Blue Eagles right now.
It's all true. That's all true, Naveen. Also, that chemistry, that familiarity, it's so obvious, is particularly in the end game. And it's also the reason why, people are asking why aren't Rafi Celis and Kyle Gamberg or any of these other guys getting playing time. It's because, as Coach Tabas said, they arrived so late in the Ateneo campus that they weren't able to assimilate as soon with the system, while everybody else has been there since January or even earlier from the other vets. So trying to bring in these 9 rookies has been tough. The beauty of past Ateneo teams has always been that when a certain batch graduates, the next team comes up already. They're next. They're ready. They're ready. They're ready. But it's always growing pains for me in the first round because it's tough making up for the loss of a 30 or the Nieto twins or all of that. And now they lost Ange Kwame. That's a massive, massive, massive game changer. They lost Ange Kwame. They lost David Defonso. They lost their captain in BJ Andrade, so underrated as a captain and a leader. And the fourth Padrigal thing is gigantic because
That's
last year he was the
huge.
runner-up for MVP. He was the runner-up for MVP, and you knew that at crunch time, sorry, it would be Padrigao who would not be afraid of taking big shots for them. So losing him so close to when the season was about to start, I think they might have held out hope that he was still going to come in for season 86. But, things happened. They've been forced to look around and see who is our point guard because Tab Baldwin has always had good point guards. You can say that even Norman Black has always had good point guards. So, this is just analysis on my part and my friends when we're watching the games and we're talking and we're thinking Brown's the only one who seems to be able uh establish himself, create a shot, who is not Chris Kuhn, because Chris Kuhn's so big, and you'd prefer that Chris Kuhn would be on the receiving end of like a pass to the wing and just take a jump shot when he's there. I don't like it when Chris Kuhn has the ball for too long and tries to create a shot while the shot clock is winding down. And that's been a dilemma for Ateneo this whole season. Shot clock winding down, and there's too much dribbling at the top of the key, particularly from the point guard position. Or, Sean Kitevis, solid defender, despite what Humamoy did to him and everybody yesterday. But with Kitevis being a good defender, he's not as reliable on offense. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, you have Mason Amos, great shooter, fantastic shooter. His defense is questionable. Everybody has been posting up Mason Amos, driving on him, trying to really challenge his defense because, and he's admitted it, his defense isn't where it should be yet because he's only a freshman. It's only his first
Mhm.
year.
Mhm.
So all these things have come together, and the result is this 4-6 record. As a friend of mine said yesterday, back in the 90s, we would have been happy at 4-6. But this generation of Ateneans has been so spoiled. They're used to not having more than 4 losses in an entire season. So for us, we come in with a perspective that I've seen worse. This is all right. It's all good. It's all good. I'll be happy if they if they even push to the final four. Yeah. For me, what matters the most, as you said earlier, you weren't able to watch the games live this weekend, and you were able to appreciate watching it on TV.
Mhm.
Yes, that's great. We have great broadcast through One Sports, this coverage of these guys on the Smart Live Stream and Filipinos Live, all of that. But when you are at the game live, you really see the effort that these players are giving, and I really appreciated that yesterday because the last game I saw live was Ateneo UP round 2. But yesterday, even with the loss, you saw they were trying so hard. They were trying to make plays. They were trying to make the right plays. Chris Kun tried to get it to Kai Balungay as the shot clock was winding down, and it just bobbled the ball. They are trying, and I really, really appreciate that they're trying. It just hasn't happened. For some reason, maybe it's cosmic karma because of all the success that you mentioned the past 23 years, these 10 championships over 23 seasons, over 22 seasons.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't because I've been there. I've watched them because I've also had my heart broken a lot, in when I was in college.
Sorry, quick
So
thought lang 10 championships in 23 seasons, which means 44% of the time you guys were winning a championship. I mean, that's absurd. Absurd
yeah,
greatness. I am in
yeah.
awe of that greatness. But anyway, go on.
Also, I said this when we went 16-0, Navi. If you had told my college self that there would be a season where Ateneo would go 14-0 in the regular season and sweep the finals to 16-0, I would have said, "You're absolutely fucking nuts." But it happened. So with all that good fortune, there must come rainy days. The sun can't shine every day. I'm sorry if I'm philosophizing because it's been tough seeing these losses. But at the same time, I see the players, I see how heartbroken they are when the losses pile up, when the ball doesn't bounce their way. I've spoken to alumni. I've messaged Coach Sandy, and Coach Sandy is so apologetic. And I was like, Coach, you don't have to apologize. I can see the effort. I know that
The effort is
you
there,
are
yeah.
trying. Yeah, and again, I told Coach Sandy, because I'm just one batch ahead of Coach Sandy. So we grew up in the 90s, basically. So we've seen a lot worse. But what Coach Tab said after I think it was either the UP game or the FU game, that the humility that's being placed upon the team is a blessing, and this is a whole lot of humility that's being placed on the team now. Right now, we don't have control of our destiny anymore. We can try and win out, although it's going to be tough because okay, UST, Adamson, UE, LaSalle. So that's not going to be easy. At the same time, you're hoping that one of the teams above slips up or that
Yep.
UE doesn't catch up. And that's tough because in years past, Ateneo has had control of its own destiny. And it's hard now that you're constantly looking at the standings and you're seeing you're not at the top, but you're in the middle or even at the near the lower part of the 8 teams. Again, I'm philosophizing because we Athenians are specialists at philosophizing because that's what they teach us in college. You're happy that they're trying so hard. You're wondering why things aren't turning out the way that they had in the past. And I don't know, maybe it's the recruitment wars have really affected how the roster has been built. Maybe these outside forces like what happened with Padrigao affecting everything. The viral infection that Coach Tab had was unfortunate, but same time, Coach Sandy is probably the most capable deputy in the entire UAAP, if not in the entire Philippine basketball.
Yep. Wealth of
So
experience for
I
that guy.
was yeah, I was not scared at all when I heard that Coach Tap wasn't around because I have so much faith in Coach Sandy. He's got so much experience. I mean, the last time he was Ateneo head coach was 2004, and he hasn't been given a head coaching position since. But he's perfectly happy being the backbone of that coaching staff. He's the steady guy in that coaching staff. Even though Coach Gabby Sev has already moved on to FEU, and all these other guys, Coach Yuri is now in San Beda. He's there. He's the steady thing with the Ateneo bench from Norman to Tab. Norman to Bo to Tab, actually. It's it's jarring. It's not easy. It's not easy, admittedly, because you've gotten used to success. But times like these, a guy like me who's seen a lot, who's been through a lot, at the same time, I can always say, I've seen worse. I've seen worse Ateneo teams in the past who really suffered. So I just appreciate that, they're trying and they're learning. As some of the other alumni I've seen online have said, they can only get better from this because they've been in so many close games, Naveen, as you've
Yep,
said.
they
They've been
have
in
been.
three
They
overtime
have
games,
been.
and the ball hasn't bounced our way for some reason or another. It can only help as far as experience goes, to go through these difficult times, because that 2016 team of Tabs that had to face Ben Mbala the first time, they were walloped by Ben Mbala's athleticism as well as Jaron Teng. Those two murdered us in that finals. That dunk of death that Mbala did, was,
Yeah.
people still talk about it to this day.
Jeron clapping
Right?
at Mike Nieto.
Yeah.
That was the ultimate. This is my league moment from Jeron at that tonight. But
Right. Right.
the
You
Ateneo
know.
stuff. First of all, I do want to say we wish that Baldwin the best. We hope he gets well soon.
Yep.
This has been an infection that I think has bothered him for a while now. So
Yeah.
health
Yeah.
is well. Wished Coach Tab the best. The Ateneo side of it, it's not like they're not preparing hard enough. It's not like they're
Yeah.
not prepping hard enough. But when you get to this level of competition, every team is preparing hard. Every team is reading the scouting report. Every team is trying to win, wants to win as badly as you are. Just because you say, I want to win badly, we're going to win. I want it. Well, the other side wants it as well, right?
Yeah.
So when both sides are equally as, you know, dedicated or as equally determined to pull out a victory, then the little things start mattering. And that's where familiarity and chemistry really come in. By the way, Jared
Yeah.
Brown, 0 assists against NU, 0 assists in their last game against UP, 2 assists in the game against FEU. And that's your most reliable point guard right now. But the thing is,
Yeah. Yeah.
naturally, he's not a pass first guard. At his best, he's looking to
Yes.
score, and he's damn
Yeah.
good at scoring the basketball. So you want him to look to score. So then Chris Cole becomes your playmaker, your initiator, right? But then you take away Chris's scoring from the wing and he needs to distribute more.
Yes.
You're taking away a strength of his game.
Yeah.
So who are you left to rely on? LeBron Nieto isn't really a playmaker as much as he's a floor spreader at this point, and he's a rookie. He's gonna go through growing pains. Ian Espinosa is, well, to be honest, he's hit or miss when he's on the court right now, diba?
Absolutely. I
So who
completely
else?
agree.
Yeah, who else is your solution point guard right now? It's tough because there's so many works. Now, the point you made on Mason, at this point of the season, I think you just kind of have to live with the defensive limitations sometimes because you need the offense. We talked earlier about how Ateneo lacks a closer, where in the games that they've won late, Mason has been the closer. He
Yeah.
is, if he's not the best, he's one of the three best get a bucket when you need it, guys, in the UAAP right now.
Fearless.
He's been playing less than 20 minutes a game the last few games. At least give the guy like a 23, 24-minute run. I think his offense is good enough that he deserves it. And by the way, that NU game, Ateneo shot 35% from the field, 7 of 24 from downtown. The Bulldogs shot 44.6% from the field. So the defense wasn't great anyway, and the offense needed help anyway. And then also, Ateneo was out-rebounded 39-32. NU had more turnovers, 19-12. So when you lose the rebounding battle, what I do is I immediately look at the turnovers, because turning the ball over means you're not getting rebounds because you're forcing the other team to give it up. So Ateneo was out-rebounded by 7, but they also forced 7 more NU turnovers. The problem is points off turnovers. Ateneo had 12, NU had 11. So Ateneo wasn't capitalizing on the NU
Yeah.
mistakes. And one more thing I should say is Kai Balungay is a really good player. But there just seems to be something this season where he has yet to find a niche
Off.
with this team. Like there's some
Yeah.
games he will take a few shots, he will take over the offense and he can carry the team. And then there's some games where he's on the court, but you just don't feel his presence, right? And one of
Yeah.
the things
He's
I
settling
really
for these jumpers, these fadeaways when I
that's my
would
next
prefer that he drives
he
strong
gets to the
or
rim,
he post
yeah.
up,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of the
I don't
things
know.
that's one of the things I mentioned. Like last season, Kai was a beast in the offensive glass, right? Now, part of that is because Kwame was able to box everyone out, but whenever Kai would like be aggressive, crashing the offensive glass, he'd get put back opportunities. That's one of the reasons how he was so effective in the finals against UP. He had that big game against LaSalle last season where he was dominant on the offensive glass. That hasn't been there this season.
Yeah.
And to some degree, it feels like guys are still trying to find where can they be effective on the court. But
Yeah.
your point of them being in close games, it's gonna help a team. It's gonna help a team. And look, you just want to make it to the final four, right? Yes, you don't want to have a twice to win disadvantage. You don't want to be a lower seed. But if you give yourself a chance and you're playing your best basketball at that moment, and if you've been in enough close games where you're comfortable down the stretch of these tight games, that could be beneficial. So if you're an Ateneo fan right now and you're looking for the positives, you're like, okay, number one, we're not yet out of the final four race. We're only one game behind Adamson for number 4 in the standings. And number two, we've been in so many close games now that at least we have experience in these situations. So not all hope is lost, not at all. There is still a chance. There's a pathway there. It's not easy, but there's a path there. And their margin for error right now is very slim.
Coach Tab said it, I think, after the FEU game that the margin for error it's practically non-existent anymore, and it just keeps shrinking and shrinking as the losses pile up. So again, it's not a matter of effort; it's a matter of, I guess, the familiarity, chemistry, the breaks, because the team as it is composed now didn't come together as soon as you would hope it would in previous seasons. Because in previous seasons, Coach Tab was able to get the team together early. Then they were able to go to, whether it was in Greece or wherever it was, to play in these little tournaments against foreign teams. And I was kind of hoping that they were able to do that, but apparently not, because Gamber and all of these guys, Celis and all of them, they weren't part of the team until much later in 2023. So I think it might have affected rotations, as well as, again, that positioning that you mentioned, Naveen, as of Balungay and Kuhn sometimes looking lost in the court, or Kuhn having the ball, or Espinosa. It's either one of them, and they're top of the key, and the shot clock is running out. And I was already thinking, why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? It keeps happening that they're looking for a bailout, and that to me is a chemistry thing. It's if the plays aren't being executed well, you're looking for a bailout shot. It's never happened before in a Tab Baldwin team that this has happened so often, as far as looking for bailouts, over dribbling, looking lost, and it seems that there's no alpha on the team. Whereas, as we mentioned earlier with LaSalle, KQ is the clear alpha dog, the undisputed guy that he will make his own shot, and they will live and die by his shot, and they've lived by it so often this season. With Ateneo, last season, it might have been Ange Kwame who was that guy, and Padrigao, and take both out. You would hope that somebody would take up the cudgels and pick up the slack from them, and it hasn't happened, unfortunately. Again, the team is still alive. The margin for error is shrinking considerably game by game, and yeah, I'm not used to this feeling, but at the same time, I'm just hopeful that things improve. I'm hoping that Coach Tab comes back. I have all the faith in Coach Sandy, but you always want your head coach to be there as much as possible. So I hope that the viral infection leaves as soon as it can. Also,
Yeah. The closer bit, I still think it can be Mason. I really think Mason should get more playing time at this point just to try something out because he can change the way a defense plays just with his ability to space the floor. Like it's so hard to play zone
Mm.
against Ateneo and Mason is on the floor, right? Because of his floor spreading abilities.
Oh, I also have to give props to Jason Credo. I think him being back on the team, the past couple of seasons he's been with Team B. I think he's one of the when he's been on the court, I think it's been more positive than negative for
Yes.
Jason Credo.
He's
He's been
also one
able
of
to create, and
yes.
he's also his defense is clear. He's got defense. He likes blocking shots. There's an athleticism that's been missing on the wing that he's been able to provide.
Yeah, and he's one of the guys who can attack and drive too. And I feel like Ateneo lacks some of those guys who just drives from the perimeter and can create. Now, let's look at the rest of the season, how the final four pictures playing out. Because right now, so by the way, first of all, I want to shout out FU for those black threads that they wore against UAP. For the longest time,
Puma.
I have been hoping for UAP teams to have alternate jerseys. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine an Ateneo of Duke like black and blue jersey, LaSalle with the Boston
I've
Celtics
imagined it
flag?
in 2008 team, the first of the five beat. They had the blue and white, but there was some black trim. And that
Right,
was Chris
right.
Chu's final season. And that was radical. A lot of alumni did not like having that black trim. But I was like, it's cool. I like it.
It's
You know,
cool,
that was
yeah.
one of the last few seasons with Adidas for Ateneo, and I liked it.
Let's be funky. Look at the NBA. Every season they have a new jersey for like every team. Let's be funky. Why not? It's a different generation now. Let's add some flavor to it. Like, can you imagine like
Yeah.
like even UST with like a black and gold jersey
Yeah.
that they wear
USP had a
consistently?
black jersey
They had,
for
which
Coach
was
Alvin's season, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was really nice. Or like even UE with black and red threads, or yeah, I mean the possibilities.
I'm actually
Anyway,
looking forward, Naveen, because I heard before the season started that for the first time, the UAB was going to allow color jerseys against each other. So I
oh,
was actually looking forward that there might be an Atlanta LaSalle game where blue and
blue and
green would be on the
green.
court at the
Oh
same
my
time. That would be
god.
amazing, because
That would be amazing.
wala nang black and white TV siguro ngayon. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter now. If you have them in blue and green or a maroon and blue color
Yes.
combo,
Maroon and blue.
I'm all for that, man.
Let's make that happen. I'm gonna try to push for that. Okay, so
Yeah.
final four picture. The race for number 1, 2, and 3 right now. I think it's UP, NU, and LaSalle. UP and NU are 8-2 each. LaSalle is 7-3. Remaining games. UP has UE, FEU, UST, and NU remaining. NU has FEU, UST, Adamson, and UP remaining. LaSalle has Adamson, UE, FEU, and Ateneo remaining. Now, a tiebreaker for number 1 will be determined by quotient. A tiebreaker for number 2 and 3 would be a playoff, which would make it essentially a best of 3 series if there's a tie for 2 and 3. Right now, the quotient between those three teams, by the way, take note, LaSalle is behind them in terms of standing, but the quotient right now for these three teams after playing each other, UP is a +12, NU is -25, and DLSU is +13. Just between those three teams, and NU and UP have a game left against each other. Now, I saw someone mention earlier, that UP and NU game, assuming they beat the other opponents, the UP versus NU game might determine who's the number 1 seed. Well, to some degree, but not exactly. Why? So the number 1 seed, like I said, it's determined by quotient, right? UP beat NU by 18 points the first time those two teams face each other in the first round. So if UP and NU are tied entering that final game of the elimination round, which is literally going to be the final game of the elimination round, UP versus NU, NU to be number 1 would have to beat UP by more than 18 points to become number 1. So that's where the quotient comes into play. Now, from these three teams, I think LaSalle might have the toughest schedule remaining just because they have played UST already. UP and NU will still face UST. So what LaSalle is hoping for is for UP or NU to slip up in one of those games, right? Now, if assuming LaSalle wins out, which is not easy because they're facing an Adamson team trying to make the Final Four, they're facing an UEFEU team, and at all their remaining 4 opponents are team vying for that number 4 seed, right? Same for UP and NU, but they have UST in their schedule, and UST is, going through a different path right now. By the way, UST next season, that's a team to watch out for, season 87. But it's going to be very interesting. That LaSalle Ateneo game also to end the elimination round, that could be for huge, huge stakes because LaSalle could be playing to keep their twice to beat hopes alive, and Ateneo could be playing to keep their final four hopes alive. So
Yeah.
just an incredible season. I have to say, Jason, close game after close game, down to the wire, final four battles, close like overtimes, big time shots, game winners. Now looking at the schedule the rest of the way,
This isn't
Ateneo.
good for my health, man. This isn't good for my health.
So
These close games, it's killing me.
Ateneo still has UST. They also have Adamson. They also have
UE.
UE, and then they have LaSalle. That's the remaining games, right? Now,
Yeah.
their biggest competition right now for that last Final Four spot is Adamson. Adamson faces LaSalle on Wednesday. Then they face Ateneo on Sunday after that. Then they face NU. And then they face UE. So it's not going to be any easier for Adamson as
Yeah.
well. UE is still in the mix as well. I thought UE beating FEU was huge for Ateneo because FEU has the tiebreaker over Ateneo. But UE is still in the mix. FEU is not going to go anywhere. So here's how I see it playing out. This is my prediction right now. I think UP will secure the number one seed. I think if they're healthy, Malik comes back. I was told there's a chance Malik comes back as early as Wednesday. JD will see how the hamstring reacts. But I think UP will get number one. I think NU and LaSalle will tie for number two, which 2 and 3, which would mean a best of 3 series in the final four. And then I think Adamson and Ateneo will have a playoff for number 4 to determine who wins the tiebreaker. And if that's how it plays out, my goodness, can you just imagine?
I can, and it's stressing me out, man. Because, you know, some of my friends have already said it yesterday. At this point, you know, because yeah, you know, losing yesterday was tough. So some of the posts that I saw on social media, some of my friends were saying, I just want to beat LaSalle in the second round. If if we get to Final Four, I just want to spoil UP a bit. I don't think we're gonna beat them, you know. But at the same time, it's part and parcel of Ateneo to have one big fight. So again, it's the effort. You know, the team is not giving up. Coach Sandy and has reassured me that, that you know that they're not giving up, and I have complete faith in that. In Tab we still trust. You know that's been another motto of ours. In Tab we trust. So yeah, this is stressful, man. Sorry.
It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. And I
It's gonna
can't
be
wait.
wild.
I can't wait to see how it plays out because you can count out UE as well. I feel like UE lost their way a little bit when they lost Wilson
You
early
has
in
an
the
axe to
season.
grind against Ateneo, man. After that whole free throw
Yeah,
debacle, they have an
you
axe to grind. So I'm not counting out any of these teams, man.
that's a
None.
that's led by a team with a coach who's been around for a while. The Remogat is my goodness.
That guy. That guy. And he first showed up last year in the Ateneo game. That's when I first was like, oh, sino to? Magawa to, you know?
One of
Because
a
he
kind.
was hardly used, I think, in the first round. But second round, he starts showing up. And, you know, that's why leading into this season, I was like, this Remogat guy is going to be a problem.
Jesus. Yeah, he's a problem. And FEU with LJ, Bautista, that's still a competitive team. I can't wait. I'm so excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. But before that, I need to get my health back. I need to be in tip-top shape for this
Yeah,
stretch
boy.
run. Jason, thanks for
Yeah.
joining me, man. It was a late recording, but I appreciate it.
Not a
Great
problem,
UAP
man.
conversation. Hey, Lakers Heat, Tuesday morning.
So pa yan. Aga pa. Yun, at least we got like, you know, there's only been 6 games played, you know, you got Jimmy and everybody getting healthy. Meanwhile, the Lakers have an eight-man rotation now because again there are so many injuries also. Then
My
this
gosh.
in-season tournament with the wild floors, which I actually like.
I
You know,
do like them too. I do
don't
like
mind
them.
these wild floors, man. I do not mind these wild floors.
Me too.
So at least here we can.
Your Lakers, my Heat have both gotten off to slow starts. The Heat are 2-4, Lakers are 3-3. That Orlando lost today. I woke up, I saw the score. I was like, what the hell
Yeah.
happened there?
I know, and I saw that three Lakers scored in 20, minimum of 20. LeBron, AD, and I think it was Austin Reeves. I was like, that's not bad. How'd they lose? And it was Wagner, and
Yeah, but
so
Manquero.
so yeah, and Banquero showed up and like in the first game. So it's still early, but Boston is looking like the monster that they were expected to be in the preseason. So
Well, until
yeah,
Kristaps gets hurt.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, that's true.
sorry to my guy Jarrell. But yeah, no, the Celtics do look great. Tatum looks bigger. Like he looks like his upper body got bigger, and he's like there was a play earlier. He bullied Mikal Bridges, who's a good defender in the paint, and I was like, whoa, oh, this is trouble. But anyway, a lot of time for NBA conversations to come. Big
Yep.
movies coming out this week. A big movie, The Marvels. I'm about 4 episodes into Loki. I still need to catch that fifth episode soon. And yeah, I was happy to stay home this week. Got to catch up on some TV series. Finally getting to watch the last season of Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
rewatching Suits on Netflix because I love that show. I loved Suits. What else? I'm rewatching Friends when I can. Rest in peace to Matthew Perry. Uh,
Yeah.
Always got a soft spot for each and every one of those characters in Friends. I'm enjoying watching Seinfeld when I can. But yeah, just trying to find some free time in between the craziness of all the sports. You have
I'll
anything to?
recommend two anime. There's a mini series that's excellent on Netflix now called Pluto. It's excellent. 8 episodes only, but per episode is 1 hour. It's got roots in Osamu Tezuka, who is the grandfather of anime because he created Astro Boy. That's one atom. Just when you think it's going this way, it goes that way, and it's all good. It goes into it's so Japanese and it's so amazing. Pluto. This might be the best Japanese anime miniseries ever. Another one that's on the rise is this anime show called Free Ren Beyond Journey's End, also on Netflix. There have been 9 episodes. I think the season's going to be 28 episodes long. It's hard to explain, but it the story picks up after the big adventure, after these four heroes have gone on the big adventure. But wow, a breathtaking story and animation. Plus, final episode of Attack on Titan is almost upon us. So we got that.
Fantastic. Great series to catch up on. Jason, thank you for your time. People can catch your work at adobomagazine.ph, if I'm not mistaken.
Dog Legs-
And yes, exactly. Movie reviews, everything else, and follow Jason as well on social media. Thanks for your time, buddy. Catch you soon.
Sure, man. No problem.